Hey, I'm Follygon, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an original character in 4 simple steps. Now, I am a digital sculptor, but anybody can do this technique, so whether you are a 3D artist, a traditional sculptor, a 2D artist working on pen and paper, or you like to draw in the mud with a rock, it doesn't matter, everybody can do this. So let me give you the rundown on this technique that I'm calling stealing and transforming. That second part's really important, actually. I'm sure many of you have heard the phrase steal like an artist, and that is exactly what we are going to do here, but the important caveat with that is that we're not going to steal from singular sources. We're going to steal from multiple sources and combine them together. So step 1, you are going to find a single reference to use as a starting point. This can be anything, so I recommend picking something that you like. Make sure you enjoy the artwork. This can be something that you just find randomly on Instagram, ArtStation, whatever, or it can be an artist who you really look up to. You can find something based on one core idea or an emotion. It really doesn't matter here what you pick, but make sure that you find something that you enjoy. I'm going to be using this image by Joshua Brian Smith as my starting point for this exercise. I love the shape language in this image. It's got some really cool stuff going on with the expression, some very stern looks, and overall I like the muted color palette that it has going on. So after you find an image, we're going to move on to step 2, which is using that artwork as loose, keyword there, loose inspiration to create an original character. So what's important here, and the reason why I say loose, is we don't want to copy this one for one. We're using this as a loose reference for us to create our own artwork. So loose is kind of one of those words, it's like, what does that even mean? It just means don't worry about things being perfect. In this case, it means letting happy accidents just happen. And definitely, if you do nothing else, please just don't trace. So you can work on this as long as you like. For me personally, I spend about 30 to 60 minutes at this part of the process on a 3D character, which is going to be about half or maybe even less for something that's in 2D. So here is my rough version of this at this stage. We're still pretty early in the process. This took me about 30 minutes to complete, and you can see that it's definitely rough. You know, I got some clay brush strokes and different stuff going on this. It's not cleaned up, it's not refined. I got stuff poking through, and the hair up there, we'll pretend that we didn't leave that in. The main point being here that it's rough, and it's just the beginning. So after this, we move on to step 3, which is the most important part of this process, which is finding a new reference. Remember I said we're stealing and transforming. We're pulling from multiple different sources. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. So we're going to take our old reference, we're going to Kobe it into the trash can, and we are going to pick out a new one. So let's repeat the first step from earlier and find us a new reference. I've found this image by Chow Tang Zhao. It's got some really cool stuff going on in the profile, the silhouette of the face. I also really like the shape of the ear, and it's got some cool stuff going on with the hair. So when you're going from one reference image to another, what's really important here is that, again, you're not just going from point A to point B and you're trying to like meld them together. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we are trying to do here is pick out the good that you do like and apply that while ignoring all the stuff that you don't like. So again, you can spend as much time as you would like at this part of the process. I spent another 30 minutes, and this right here is what my character is looking like after starting to apply some of those different aspects. So I've started to push the silhouette of this character, especially that front part of the face. I've worked on the ear a little more, as well as the hair and other parts in terms of cleaning up, getting rid of those rough brush strokes, and starting to play with some different aspects of this character. So this is only after 2 steps, right? We had our first and now our second reference, and I'm really starting to like the direction. We're already heading away from that first piece and starting to pull some of the good from the second one. So now we're gonna move on to our final step. So for step 4, all we're gonna do is repeat what we've already done, which is just finding a new reference and continuing to go down that line. Now you can do this as many times as you want, but I'm going to recommend that you don't do it too many times. You don't want to try to, continue down this trail 100 times. You're going to start to lose the plot and end up potentially with a weird monstrosity. So I did this one more step, so that's 3 reference images, and for my final reference image, I used just some screenshots of Ganondorf from Tears of the Kingdom, because that game came out recently, and here is what my final character is looking like after about an hour and a half. So like I said, you can do this as many times as you would like. I did it 3 times. Here's what I pulled from each one. So from my first reference image, that core basic idea, I pulled the basic shape language of the head, kind of getting that tall aspect down if we want to go back to that basic idea, that first starting point. From there, I started to pull in that silhouetted shape of the face, as well as some of the different shapes in the ear, some other stuff there with the hair. And then finally here, transforming some of those different, more aggressive shapes that I saw in Ganondorf, like the shape of the nose kind of flaring up the nostrils, the eyes, and starting to play with some of the more sharp angles in a few different aspects. And this process is unbelievably easy to do. The more that you do this, obviously, the better you're going to get at this practice of combining these different references together. It's something that I've practiced more than a few times myself, but you're also going to start pulling in some of the things that you like and just pulling in more of yourself. So it's a great way to develop your own art style as well. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, click that subscribe button. I have a ton of other helpful videos, time lapses, and tutorials just like this one here. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.